Ooh, what's up guys? I'm Ben and this is Kame Trick. It's a channel where we enjoy both sim and real life drifting, and sometimes we even mix the two together, so if that's something that you're into, please consider subscribing. This video is going to be the second in my No E-Brake Challenge series. I review Assetto Corsa cars, typically mod cars and usually on modded tracks as well, but in my last video I did the official AE86 drift spec car from Kunos, and so in the new fashion I'm going to be doing a no e-brake challenge with it as well. Now, one thing I want to mention real quick is that drifting without the e-brake doesn't make you cool. Drifting with the e-brake doesn't make you lame. Challenge yourself to try it without at some point and see how that goes, because I think if you get to where you can link the track really smoothly without relying on the e-brake, then when you add it back in, you're just going to be a beast, and it's going to make you that much better of a driver. Now, I'm not completely confident that this is going to go well. The last car that I did a no e-brake challenge video with was the WDT R32 Skyline, and that car has a lot more power and a lot more angle, which gives me more options. This is kind of a twitchy, challenging car, but let's see how it goes. We'll jump right in with the clutch kick. And then I'm going to be very gentle on the throttle because this car has a weird tendency to slowly go into this unrecoverable spin. Drifting without the e-brake is all about using the right amount of speed and momentum for the turn at hand. So for me, I tend to come off throttle during transition. I modulate the throttle a lot. Should have used a clutch kick there. Third gear is going to be hard. We'll try it. So we'll clutch kick in, we'll foot brake to slow the car down, we'll foot brake a bit more down to second, wait, then get on throttle gently, and we'll have to cut the track a bit because I did all that a bit too early. That's a hard turn to do as well without the e-brake. I will talk about that next lap. Whoa, and then I overcooked it and had to bail. I was not able to continue around here like I wanted to. So come here, clutch kick. Oh, too much. I did not clutch kick with enough angle to get far enough down the straight to have any hope of linking it. If I could have pulled the e-brake, I easily could have fixed that. But because I'm trying not to, it tells me that next time I go into that turn, I need to either initiate later if I'm going to do what I just did, or I need to initiate harder so that the car slides down the track more in the one direction before I transition back the other way with that feint. Clutch kick, foot brake to try to slow the car down to second, and then very gentle. Okay, now let's talk about this transition. So carry some angle, come off, and then foot brake to slow the car down so you don't go into the grass over there. Then you have to clutch kick again to get back on throttle and make sure that you have enough power to keep the rear sliding. Here I'm going to try to go bigger to get the car further down the straight, and that worked out about like I wanted it to. Come off throttle for transition, back on throttle when the car is done rotating, modulating the throttle through the turns to keep everything decently happy. This is a lot harder though than the WDT car because there's just less to work with. Oh, you gotta wait so long. It's like the car has heaps of rear grip until it suddenly doesn't. And then you just have to wait and can't really get on throttle because you'll just spin the car out. So one of the things that I was asked after my last No E-Brake Challenge video is to really talk about what you have to do to drift without the e-brake in Assetto or really in any game or real life. And what it comes down to is managing the weight shift of the car and basically driving the car solely with weight shift, or as my initial D fans would know, Kame drifto. So what you're going to be doing for that is not so different than what you do with the e-brake, to be perfectly honest. Basically, you are relying on when you give the car throttle and balancing that with the counter steer to when you either tell the car to transition by counter steering more or by letting off the throttle and counter steering the same amount. Transitions are the same as normal. You let the wheel slip through your hands. As the car comes to the right amount of angle that it needs to be, you grab the wheel again and then you balance that with throttle. And that part is kind of specific to each car. But you really have to control how far you go before you transition and how far down the track you're going to go, solely based off of what you're doing with just the throttle and the steering. So, in a way, it's about being confident in your line control, knowing where you want to put the car on the track, and knowing that you can do the right inputs to make the car end up in that place, whatever that is. So to give you an example, we're going to come in, pop the clutch, coast the car around this little apex, transition kind of gentle. We got to know when to come off the gas and get under the brake and cue up a clutch kick right there so that we go through that turn enough, but not through it so much that we go off into the grass on the outside. Here as well, it's really just about that combination of giving it gas, waiting the right amount of time, coming on power the right amount of power. It's difficult to explain until you know how to do it. But basically, I wouldn't recommend trying to learn how to drift without the e-brake until you can link the track nicely with the e-brake. Let's assume that I'm talking to people who already know how to link the track nicely with the e-brake. Then all that you really have to do is figure out where you're using the e-brake. There are these things called awkwardly long straights, where an e-brake is really the ideal tool for the job. But they're fairly rare for the most part. As long as you know how to drift at a shallow angle and drift at a really big angle, you can find the right combination of inputs to make the car get around a given set of turns and down a small straight. If you find that there's a part of the track where you're using the e-brake at, unless it's one of these awkwardly long straights, it means that your line is wrong, and it means that your line has room to improve. So look for those places where it's necessary or natural to use the handbrake and think about what you're doing and why. You'll probably find that you are having the handbrake because you transitioned too early, and so then what you need to do is, without using the handbrake, figure out how to adjust your line to drive a little deeper down the track before you transition. And if you start flying off the edge of the track, then it probably means that you're going a little too fast, and so then you need to figure out how to transition either at a bigger angle to scrub more speed and slow you down so you don't shoot off the edge, or use a bit of foot brake in the middle of those transitions to slow the car down a little bit, things like that. And eventually you can sort of whittle down the amount of parts of the track where you have to rely on the handbrake. And it's fine to go back to it later, like I said, but being able to do the whole track without it is just a huge confidence boost, and it lets you get really surgical and slice up those apexes when you add it back into your skill set. Look at that, like, zero counter steer drifting, I love it. I like to do an e-brake rig right here because it's very safe. But if I take the risk, I can just use foot brake instead. It just takes accuracy and a bit of confidence, sometimes a bit of luck. In situations like that where you just go earlier than you should, there's literally nothing you can do. Like if you're too early and you can't go to the e-brake because it's broken or because you've decided not to or whatever, you pretty much just have to wait until the next lap to try to fix that problem. All right, so I would say that no e-brake challenge with the AE86 was a success. Let me know what you guys thought. If you have any questions, comments, things that I could cover a little bit more clearly, hit me up down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to check it out and look at some of the real life drifting that I have as well, because not only do I do sim drifting, but I've actually been drifting in real life for probably 17 years now, a pretty long time. And on this channel, we get to enjoy doing both and talk about the overlap between the two. So if you want to go from sim drifting to real life, then my videos can probably help you get a perspective on that. And if you're a real life drifter like me and you've considered investing in a sim and you're not sure if it's worth the money to drop, several $1,000s into a nice bit of kit when you could spend that on your real car, hopefully my videos can show you a little bit about that as well. But let me know in the comments what you want to see next. And as always, thank you all for liking and subscribing. We recently hit 3,000 subs and I'm so thankful and glad to have you guys aboard. Have a good night, guys. Peace.